Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Levels and Meds here on the Bridge 99 FM with me, your host, Jeffrey Azan. Folks, remember, Levels and Meds is the show for next level thinking and next level living. Whether you are a business person, an entrepreneur, or you're that professional rising in your career, we are here to help you take it to that next level. Today we're going to be having a phenomenal show talking about the art of closing deals, the whole business of sales, with none other than a big friend of mine, superstar Beverley Thompson, CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services and an award-winning sales trainer. We have plenty to talk about today, folks, but let's jump into it. In this whole mission of sales in business, in operations, within revenue generation, we have to really explore, where does sales fall? Is it the primary? Is it a secondary? Is it, way down the bottom of the food chain? Realistically, my opinion and studies reveal, sales is your second most important department after operations, because if you don't have a product or a service, then you actually don't have anything to sell. But I know Beverly is going to be disputing that, possibly challenging it today as we explore this whole concept of the importance of sales in business. But we're going to be playing a quick track here on the bridge. We're going to get a little vibes going. And then as soon as we come back from the music, we're going to be talking to Bev, introducing you, letting you guys know what's up. But trust me, Levels and Meds today, next level thinking, next level living. Folks, it's all about the hustle. It's all about the drive. The salesperson is the push. They're the pump. They are the heartbeat of many businesses. They bring in the money, very often referred to as the blood of the business. And joining us today is what we'd call her, the heart surgeon of many companies. She gets the heart beating and she gets the blood flowing. Joining me in studio today is none other than CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services, Beverley Thompson. Bev, say hi to the people.
Well, go on, Jeffrey.
We're here. We're here.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
There we go.
Great to be sitting here with my friend.
All the excitement. So, folks, Bev is not just the CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services, but Bev actually has a number of awards, achievements, recognitions as her role as a salesperson, a sales manager, a sales trainer, facilitator. She's also a speaker. She's an author.
Yes, sir, right?
I mean, everything to do with sales and packing the information around sales and getting it to you. Bev.
Yes, and I find myself, I've evolved really through business development and almost, business strategy and helping CEOs and medium-sized businesses just to run their business. Because as you say, sales is the engine. And sometimes we think sales is a problem. But there are other things affecting sales. So, yeah. So I have evolved into now a business strategist, business manager, coaching CEOs, while at the same time driving the sales engine.
Folks, I mean, I know I have my notebook out. I hope you have yours, because Bev is here to drop the gems on us. Bev, as we jump into it, it's very important to get to know the teacher before you get to know the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us your introduction into sales? How did you even figure out that sales was your niche?
The short version, right?
I mean, we have a few minutes.
Well, technically, I always say that my interaction with people began at a wholesale downtown called Luke and Beck Biscuits and Sweets. And I sold everything. And I also became the inventory person. I knew pickpockets. I just knew the people walk on the street, run from gunshot every now and then, from downtown to crossroads. If you see a pickpocket, I could say, move from here, man. Nobody pick today. Move on. So my interaction with people began in the streets. And so I would have gone on to, the big bag, the big black bag.
Yeah.
You sell lotion and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would have done that in Portmore a little bit and realized, oh God, it was too tough. And And then I would have moved on to some of the fast food places. You don't know King Burger, do you?
Oh, I know
you
King
know King
Burger.
Burger?
I am
Okay.
I am old enough to know King Burger.
Okay, then, right? So I would have made burger and cashier and cook food and peel banana and yam and whatever. And then I decided, and then I moved on to a meat shop. And I cut the cow, the different parts of the cow, the steak, etc. Weigh flour. Right now when I go to the market, I can lift up a pound of yam and tell you it's a pound of yam because I've done it before. So all of those kinds of interactions, it was elevated later when I worked at Statistical Institute of Jamaica. And I walked around to all businesses and collected the information that calculated the national income that goes into the calculation of the GDP. So,
okay.
And that again took me to all over, all types of retail establishments, just walking the streets. We would get, I forget what you call it, this money you get to travel. And we would
The per diem.
Yes. And we would all save up the money. And because if you're walking from Parkington Plaza down to Carlton Crescent where Cable and Wireless is, it doesn't make sense to take the bus, right?
Right.
You just walk. So you end up walking until you reach downtown. All of the businesses and the retail establishments. So a good number of years, I just straddled between different places and just kept going up. And so I think at this stage, I kind of understand a lot about businesses and street and people and at all levels.
So really, what I'm hearing is that it was just hard work out the gate. Opportunity to opportunity, growth to growth. And it was just...
Yes.
Head down, put in the work.
And it was survival.
Survival.
Just get what you have to do. Get what you need to get done. Get it done, regardless. I'm being paid. I can pay my bills. And I got that done. And one day my life changed. I went to collect the information for one of the big companies here in Jamaica. It was called Cable and Wireless at the time, I think now, Flow. And I looked at the wages. And... given the meticulous and detailed person I am, I looked at it and went back and said, oh, the information is absolutely wrong. This is not what it always looks like. So could you please look at it? He said, no, ma'am. We got a salary increase and we got back pay. I said, what? So I'm using my calculator and I'm calculating. So you are telling me that, so can I get a job?
Okay.
Can I get a job? I said, well, I don't know. Do you have a resume? Yes, I do. And I submitted it. I entered Cable and Wireless, and the rest was history.
So it really was a lesson in exposure, if I was to try to sum it up into one thing.
And curiosity. And asking questions.
So nothing's going to fall from the sky into your lap.
No, and having a goal, because I knew that I could not continue that way. I wanted to go to university, and I had to find a way to go to university.
So when you went to Cable and Wireless, you started in sales at Cable and Wireless, or?
I started in a place where somehow I always exist up to this day. They were launching a new product. No, I'm going to give away my age here. They were launching mobile service.
I was alive then too. I was around. I was alive.
Yeah. So I was one of like very few employees, and that experience entirely was creating everything, just be part of a team to create things from scratch. Zero. The system existed, the big phones existed, but the process and the invoicing and the billing and the service, entire thing were a team of people that kind of built that out at the time. And so I spent some years there, moved up to supervisor in a very short while, and then I recognized very quickly that that was not for me either. I couldn't stay much longer because we kind of bust the ceiling. I was supervisor. I didn't want to become a manager. I didn't want to continue dealing with people at that junior level. And I looked then and saw that there was a higher level of sales to go to. And that was account management.
And that's when the real selling, all along the way you had been selling, but this became now a whole new stratosphere of figures and conversations.
Yes, and at that time, there was investment in training and development. And so I was like a sponge
your product.
I was exposed, I got trained, I got supported thanks to Kilo Wireless at the time. And then I just kept moving.
Love it. Folks, I tell you, Bev coming with the goal from the streets. I'll say from the streets to the corner office and beyond. She was in the creation, she was in the selling, she was in implementation. So much to learn from Bev this morning. We're going to be taking a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be diving into the nitty-gritty, the techniques and tips for improving sales conversion for yourself and for your business. That and more when we come back. Welcome back to Levels and Meds here on the Bridge 99 FM with me, your host, Jeffrey Azan. And joining me in studio is the CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services, Beverley Thompson. Today, folks, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the art of closing deals, techniques and tips for improving your sales conversion. Bev, we reached out to our audience and we asked them a question. What is the number one thing when it comes to generating recurring revenue? And we kind of gave them three options. We said operations, a great product, a great sales team, or great marketing. And it's very interesting because it kind of came as a 1, 2, 3 answer. So a lot of people, the majority said great product, and then second most said great sales, and then third said great marketing. I'm curious, what's your take on it in really generating recurring revenue? Where does the weight fall for you?
Well, you cannot sell a product that you do not have. You cannot build awareness around a product that you do not have. You cannot sell a product that's not, well developed, or at a minimum, it serves a particular side of the market and people are willing to exchange their money for what the product can do for them. So if that product doesn't exist, at least a minimum viable product to serve a particular target market who is willing to pay for it, then there's no sales. And if you also do not have that same minimum viable product to build awareness from the marketing side to your target market who you want to buy it from, then so it starts with that, I guess innovation, ideas, product development, product refinement.
But in Jamaica, there's this mentality, I can do a thing, so I just need to tell people I can do a thing. We find that there's a big rush to social media, or I just need to market it, or I just need to get it out there. But you're saying really and truly it's product or service first.
It's product. Well, depends if it's a physical product or it's a well-developed suite of services that can be communicated in a way where people understand the value that they're getting and they're willing to pay for it. So in my experience with working with SMEs, CEOs, or micro entrepreneurs, I find that, and it has happened to me as well. So because I've also gone through the process, I can identify. I can tell you, I signed up with Branson when I just started, and I could not go through the program because I could not answer the hard questions that they were asking me. It wasn't possible because I just, jump, yeah, man. But it was hard hitting. Well, today I do work for Branson, which is amazing.
Full circle.
Right. Full circle, right? So my experience is, Bev, I'd like to grow, I'd like to develop, I would like to employ a salesperson, I want to do X, Y, 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 Y. And when I kind of, have my little one-on-one and my deep searching, getting you to interrogate your own self, what is the product that you're selling? Yes, I can name it. It's a bottle of water. Who are you serving? Why are you serving them? What's the value that this creates for them? Who has the highest probability of wanting your bottle of water, and for what reason? Why do you price it the way you do? Who is your competition? And so, but we want to grow.
I don't think I've answered many of those questions. Like, I just shut down my whole business a while ago, folks. Everything, I just locked shop a while ago because I don't think I can answer all of those questions effectively.
Right. And then the other thing that we also need to come to terms with is our understanding of what selling and sales is.
Stick all the pins. You have to break that down for me. So there's a difference between selling and sales?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You yourself, same thing, selling, sales.
Okay.
You yourself, you need to have a good understanding of what sales is.
Okay.
Some persons believe that sales is just pushing off something to somebody, and if they buy it, and if the person buys it from me, oh God, they're sorry for me, and oh God, they don't really need it, kind of thing, and I need to make a money, kind of thing, right? That's some people, and some people are ashamed of offering the
Their
great
product.
thing that they have to someone else who finds it useful and is willing to give you money for it.
True.
And you're also totally okay if persons do not buy your product. You're very comfortable
If they don't buy
if they
it.
don't buy it. I am comfortable if you don't take my service.
Elaborate on that. How do you even get comfort? Is that a predisposition? It's something you learn? Is it?
It's a decision. It's a process. And I'm telling you, I myself went through that process because coming from corporate, done all of these things, been all of these places, and you know so much. And how do I know package that in a way that I can say, hey, this is a product, pay for it? That was a very difficult process for me.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. But I suffered along the same lines, a little bit different, and I actually want you to speak to that because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially in the service industry, run into this problem a lot.
Yes.
We either don't value what it is that we do, or almost worse than that, we don't know how to price it in a
Yes.
way that's appealing.
Yes.
We kind of at this place, well, if you pay me $1, great, because I wasn't getting anything before.
Yes.
Or if you pay me $1 million, phenomenal.
Yes.
I don't think it's worth that, but if you're willing to pay me, how do we navigate, I want to say, that price journey
Yes.
for services?
Okay, so, and I'm in the service business, right? So it's very challenging. It's difficult because you have to find the balance between the value of what you're creating, what you create, how much, when you're, and in your service space, when you provide that service, you're creating value for somebody else to do something much bigger than themselves. So when I provide a service for you, and you use that service, it then multiplies, accelerates, generate, push, drive you to do something else that give you multiples of what you would pay me.
Okay.
Say, pay me $1.
Okay.
I do the service for you, but you are able to use what I've done for you, with you, about you, and use that to generate a whole lot more than you were generating before. And it may not mean immediate dollars. It could mean just fix a process, fix a system, one idea. What does that do for you? And what is the value of that? So you have to find the balance between that, what the market is willing to pay and has the ability to pay,
And what you need to live.
and what you need to live. So you have to find that balance, because I could be worth a whole lot more, but the market not in a position, and depending on the level of the market as well. So you have to find that balance between what you are worth, the value you are creating, what the market can afford. And sometimes too, the market can afford it. That's another spin. The market can afford it. Will they pay you, Jeffrey?
I feel like that's a very introspective question. Will they pay me?
You. Will they pay you? Will they pay me? Will they pay that person over there? And that comes down to know how you package up the service. So I've been having conversations with different persons, and they're great at what they do. Same process I went through. You're great at what you do. I can see what you do. I can see the value. But in communicating what that is and what it looks like in real life for someone who you want to pay for it is a totally different conversation.
Folks, if you never take note, we're speaking with Beverley Thompson from Hulaine Strategic Services. And if this conversation is piquing your interest just as much as it's piquing mine, there are two things you need to do. The first one is you need to go check them out on social media. The second thing is you need to go sign up for some of Beverley's training courses and material. And I'll add a third thing, you need to follow The Bridge on all of our social platforms, because this interview is going to go on YouTube when it's all said and done. And you may want to rewatch and get some of the notes from this very amazing session. We're breaking down a lot, and I want to keep digging deeper into this conversation on sales. Just the mere fact of how much information you presented in such a short period of time speaks to the wealth of knowledge that you have on the subject. How important is it for somebody to get training in sales as opposed to just acquiring information?
Okay, so let me start with a fundamental place. First, you need to love people. You need to love interacting with different types of people. You need to not be a surface person who just, take stuff and it glide off. You have to be curious. You need to be able to ask questions, see much more than what's in front of you, because that's sales. Because a lot of us think that what we sell is what the customer sees or what they understand this thing to be doing. Many times you make the sale or make the money in the space where the customer doesn't see or the customer doesn't understand. So our job, and so you're being curious, you love people, you love to interact, you also like to use processes and systems. You have an accountability nature, because sales is black and white. Business development sales is black and white. I didn't make numbers, right? So you have to come with that sense of, and then you also need to have a positive outlook on life generally, not just sales, a positive outlook on life generally, and put your rejections and your no's in the right places, where they belong, and know how to manage and handle them. Because it's tough when you talk to, 20 people and 18 persons tell you no.
Yeah.
And that kind of resilience is not just about sales, it's just about life. You have to really come to terms with those things. So once you and you may have some DNA going on there. Other parts of it is a decision. Like I decided who I want to serve in my business, and some of the customers I will not be able to serve to the best of my ability. I can try and help you, but if I'm being my best self, then you're not my ideal customer profile. So you have to bring those things together. And so when you have those things, then the training comes.
But it sounds like before you even get to the sales training, there's a whole element of personal development. So really and truly, and I'm just putting it in the phrase that I understand, personal development comes before sales technique.
Yes, and probably it's development and it's recognition and acknowledgement. And there are assessment tools out there. There are things you can do to see if I'm cut out for this. Am I cut out for this?
Are there people who are not salespeople though? Are there people who just don't belong in it? Or is it something everybody can develop?
If your DNA is I don't like talking to people, why are you in sales?
Simply said and put. Yeah.
If your DNA is I don't want to be accountable to the activities that I have to do every day, call people, update the CRM, write a proposal, negotiate, etc. If your DNA is you don't want to do that, then don't go in sales. Now, it also depends on the type of product. We have commodity type product. You go to the supermarket, your pharmacy, you pick up the stuff off the shelf. We need those things, right? You pick them up. They sell by themselves.
Right.
But if there was somebody in there to say, hi, Jeffrey, you're picking up a tube of toothpaste today. Have you considered or have you thought about? Anybody in the pharmacy ever said that to you yet?
From time to time.
Yes, I haven't seen it. It has never happened to me. Right?
Well, it happens very often when they're doing like the promotions.
The
promotions.
Yes.
I can't say that I've ever dealt with a supermarket floor worker selling me a product. No, but
and that's the nature of that industry too, because they're merchandisers and so on. That's the nature of that industry, and that sales is a bit different. That's mass. You have to make sure that your supermarket, the items are well positioned, well placed, shelf talkers. We can see them. They grab our attention. We walk up to them. That's a different type of sales. Commodity type, mass, and there is a whole science behind that. Merchandising science. You don't want to speak about that. That's serious, right? So that's another type of product. Then you have things that move very quickly. People on the street selling things very quickly. If you go to the person who sells things like, ripe banana, fruits, etc., etc. Now the question is, why do you go to that person all the time? There are 6 or 7 fruit vendors
right there.
So
Why
we
that
say,
one?
why that one?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah, why that person? Because there's something about the same ripe banana,
But I guess a lot of people might say,
Yeah.
my mother buy from them or my auntie Rochi buy from them.
There
or,
is something, but if they mess you up one day, you're not going back to them, you're going to choose somebody else. So the question is, why that person? Just still sales.
True.
So they are not coming up to you and say, buy my ripe banana.
I'm going to them.
I'm going to them because when I go, the person said, but you buy ripe banana, why you don't buy so and so too? Or how is your child? I see you came here last week with your 11-year-old. School all right? They were good in the school? Yeah. Oh, wait.
Very different sales
Very
approach compared to the
different approach.
merchandise or compared to the stock shelf.
Very different approach because they are genuinely interested in you, who you are, and things about you.
Their sales strategy depends on a personal touch.
Personal touch. We call it high touch. High
Okay.
touch, personal touch. And you may forget something, and they may say, but you normally buy
Mango.
plantain. How come you know? Oh yes, man. Oh God, thank you for reminding me.
Interesting.
So the different levels. Then you get to service and high touch, higher value products, where this is now you need to have a business type conversation with someone. That's where you get into the account management realm, the key account management, the B2B sales, corporate sales. They're all the same names. Business development. And I find sometimes that we get confused between business development and sales. But at that level now, this is where your curiosity to delve deeper, to get to understand where people want to go in business, what is their goal, how it is that you are going to support it, sometimes not necessarily with their product.
Not necessarily with my product.
With your product, because I can come to you, Jeffrey, and you tell me what you want to do. Possibly you want to, say you're in manufacturing.
Right.
You have a sales team, you have a manufacturing plant, you have tools, you have equipment, you have process, you have system, you have all kinds of things. And your what you need right now is an inventory system to help you to manage the flow between sales and production, availability of products, and getting the products through the door.
Okay.
You want an inventory system?
Yeah.
Or possibly you have one and you need to get it fixed.
Okay.
So if you talk to me now and you're not having necessarily a sales issue, you're getting the demand, some kind of demand, because if you're getting demand and your salespeople are not good, that means there's greater demand. But you're getting the demand. And
Note taken.
you're getting the demand, but you're producing the products, but you're having a bottleneck between knowing when you run out of products, when they're available, when the salespeople have taken the orders, and you're having bottleneck in that. No, why on God's earth would you then invest in my sales training right now? Maybe not.
True. How would you, because you still want the business, you
I
don't
still
want to,
business.
right? You don't
So
want to
here's
walk
what I'm
away
going
to say.
Here's what I'm going to do. Well, maybe I'm not unique, but everybody else has this ability. Try and understand where the customer is coming from. What is it about an inventory system you want to fix? What is it and how can you help? You can help possibly by, probably based on your experience, recommend someone who can help them.
Okay.
You can probably send them some information about some inventory system that you can probably call upon a friend who is in another company, who is doing well with their...
Talk to Joe Schmo, he had a similar...
Right, yeah. You can help them in that way. Because during all of that, because when you fix the inventory system and the workflow start going from manufacturing to the warehouse to sales, the demand is going to increase.
And that's when I get the call to say, come to my sales training.
Beverley, now I need to create more demand because I just spent some money on this inventory system, right? So therefore I need to bring in more revenues to cover for the investment that I have made in this thing. And here's what, my salespeople are just taking orders possibly.
Right.
Just because my product is that good and people are demanding it. So Bev, can you do a development of my team so that they can go out and generate new business to add to the order taking that we're already getting.
I love all of it. I think you hit a nail on the head that I know myself, I've run into several times in past businesses where I do people development. Very often I run into just that. We're not prepared, we're not ready, we don't have the capital, that's not on the top of our list. And I think this might be the step I missed, but also I think a lot of other entrepreneurs miss is that, well, I guess they're not ready for my product. And, you know, we lock shop and walk out when really and truly, if we just took a little time, guys, for me, that's a big key right there.
Yeah, and sometimes the business is genuinely not ready for you yet and your product. But how do you nurture? How do you stay top of mind share? And sometimes it's wrong customer.
Sometimes it's just a wrong customer.
It's not your customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Oh, I noticed that you're going through sort of a process of increasing, we'd say, value items from commodities to the necessities. You got to the high touch, as you called it. What about when we're talking about major investment, when we're talking car and land? Is that any different than the high touch, or is it around the same approach?
Well, similar, not same.
Okay.
Because when we have to take out our big dollars, house, that's an emotional cars. It's an emotional journey, not just the money. It's an emotional journey that's wrapped up in people's personal stories that you're about to change and make different, not just for them, but them and their families.
So you're no longer just a problem solver.
You're creating, you're fulfilling, helping people to fulfill aspirations and the lifelong dreams that they've had.
Wow.
And your role is to progress that along, to believe in it. It says that it's a whole different thing. Can you buy the house? Yes, you can buy the house. Have you gone to get your pre-qual letter? Can you afford? Is it in your budgetary? Yes, you can buy the house. Support them because I touch on so many different industries, I kind of have a little peek into a lot of industries.
Right.
In the real estate industry, it is so emotional. People get their keys and they bawl, they cry. People come to you as a real estate agent and say, I want to, and if you shut them down, that could be the end of their dream to own a house.
Just altogether.
Altogether. You as a real estate agent say to me, Beverley Thompson, no, you cannot afford that house. Go find something else. So believe in my dreams. And then when you shut me down like that without even checking whether or not, am I going to get a promotion? Am I going to change my job? Can I team up with other family members? How can I get this goal sorted? So when you don't support my dream and my goal and my aspirations all my life, even if I'm 25, I want to own a house. What you've just done is shut down possibly 3 generations of people who are looking toward the first person in their lineage to own a home.
Wow. I didn't even think about it like
so
that.
So your responsibility as a real estate or a mortgage officer runs deep.
Right.
And it almost happened to me. My husband and I went to a mortgage company and they said, all you could afford is $3 million. And we struggled for about 4 years as to why I was earning what I was earning. He was earning what? And we had a property already. You had a property already. And they were saying you just couldn't afford it. But we didn't understand that there's something called amortization ratio and how you debt, whatever. We didn't understand
how the calculations
how they
are
calculate
done.
it. We didn't understand that. And a friend of mine called me and said, Bev, come here, man, come here. I don't understand. How much money you earn X? How much hobby earn X? She said, no, that's not possible. Sat in front of her and she said, hey guys, you can afford a home of this value.
She just had to show you how to look at it differently.
She just had to open up and give us information. She wasn't selling. And we did not take the mortgage from her. And she was a mortgage officer. We went somewhere else.
Wow. Do you still have a relationship with her today?
I do.
Okay, I just had to check.
Yes, and I'm going to sit with her again and talk about something else, even though she's no longer in that role. But she's a helpful person. That's how she is.
Right.
So you're there to help and move people along. If you want to buy a car, maybe I'm the first person in my family to buy a car or to buy that type of car. If I notice some people buy a house and them carry the whole family to come look, I do it.
Yeah.
My whole family to come look at it.
You have to do the housewarming and you come.
Not before housewarming.
Oh,
no.
you mean just to
Just
look?
to look and say.
Do you think
Yes,
what your everybody's opinion
everybody-
matters?
Yeah. And when you're
True.
buying car as well, depending, you carry your friends or your close family members. Come
What
look
you
at
think
it.
of
What you
this one,
think?
and-
Yes, right. Yeah. So those things, you have a much greater responsibility. An investment and so on, you have a much greater responsibility.
It almost sounds like the item you're selling really needs to fall somewhere on an emotional scale, and based on the emotional scale, it's going to determine sort of the techniques and approach used.
Yeah, not necessarily. You have to understand that when we're making big ticket decisions, it gets very
Emotional.
Yes.
Wow. There's so much. I just love it all. We went through a whole spectrum of categories, approaches, elements, but there was something that kind of ran across all spectrums, and it was this human to human
Yes.
interaction.
Human to human, yes.
I'm a big proponent that the key thing that makes humans or gives us our power is our ability in communication.
Yes.
How important do you find communication, and more accurately communication development, in the sales realm? Or do some products just sell themselves?
Some products sell themselves. Commodity products sell themselves.
Okay.
Your food, your essential items, they sell themselves, usually.
Right.
It depends now on the service of which supermarket you go to, which pharmacy location as well. A couple of things.
Right.
Make an availability of the product. Frequently they run out, whatever. They sell.
Number of factors come into.
Right. They sell themselves. But in terms of just looking at give me the context of the question again.
The context is that it's a human to human interaction.
Human to human, right. So, human to human, boy, it's not just about selling or sales, right?
Right.
Human to human is a basic human experience. And what you'll find is that here's Beverly, here's Jeffrey. We both probably work for the same company, because I've seen it happen several times. You both have the same product, a bottle of water. Jeffrey spoke to the same customer over there about the bottle of water. Not impressed. Not bad. Worst thing ever. Beverly spoke to the same customer about the same bottle of water.
Greatest
I
product.
want to buy it now. And I'm not speaking from the perspective that you make up stories, or you are flashy, or you are, just being a fast-paced seller. I don't come from that school. I don't believe in selling people things that they don't need and they don't have to use. I don't believe in that. But here's what. Jeffrey might have gone over there and say, here's a bottle of water, a white top, blank, etc. If you're thirsty, then you can drink water. Everybody drinks water. But Beverly might say to you, come over here and say to you, okay then, do you drink water all the time? How often do you drink water? Do you know you're supposed to be drinking 8 glasses of water each day? How much do you drink?
And it just keeps...
It just
becomes a personal interaction, as you said.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Folks, we're talking with Beverley Thompson. If you're just tuning in here on the Bridge 99 FM, Beverley is the CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services, and she is dropping knowledge bombs in the field of sales. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back. And welcome back to Levels and Medz here on the Bridge 99 FM with me, your host, Jeffrey Azan. And joining me in studio is none other than the CEO of Hulaine Strategic Services, Beverley Thompson. Folks, if you're just tuning in with just a few minutes left in the show, we're talking about the art of closing deals, techniques and tips for improving sales conversions. And Bev and I, as we were talking during the break, we're really just making the point, and I think this is an excellent point to enter on, is that you don't need to be this super charismatic, outgoing, in-your-face type of person to be a good salesperson. She was making the point that she has had some excellent introverted people who were excellent salespeople. But as you were saying, Bev, it is really, even though they're introverted, they still enjoyed connecting
with people and wanting to solve people's problems and enjoy talking to people.
So in this world, with just a few minutes we have left, I know this is a big question on everybody's mind. We have the extrovert seller, we have the introverted seller, both of which need to be focused on connecting and helping people. But what about the e-commerce seller? What about I have my business and my sales are driven through e-commerce? How can you help me in that line? What do I need to take into consideration?
Oh, I think everybody is trying to figure out perfectly. I don't think anybody has hit it perfectly, but there are people who are doing better than others. There are some products that do better. There are some things that are suitable for the e-commerce space. Once you enter it with your product, it is more clinical. It's more clinical in terms of figuring out your stuff before you kind of get there. Well, you can get there. You don't have to be perfect, but just know that to get the maximum potential, you just have to be very clinical. So what is your digital funnel looking like?
Right.
You know, what is your lead magnets? What are you going to use to get customers in? How do you personalize? So for example, one of the things I don't do a lot, which I'll share, I don't share my personal self on my pages. And what I notice is that when I share a post with me, my picture, and the same hard information, people prefer that.
Right.
And that's an area I have to improve on. But e-commerce is where it's at. It depends on the product. If it's productized, we can get it, you can push it through. You have to find a way to get the customers in. And some people are straight e-commerce. You can start and end your sale online.
Okay.
Depending on the product, right? Furniture, clothes, etc. If it's a service, you can start and end online as well. But you may start and end offline.
Okay.
So it depends. And if you're using social media for possibly awareness like I do, just want to keep the brand out there, most of the persons who I engage to serve, we take the conversation offline. That's where most of the work ends up. Because what I do, I can't complete everything necessarily online. And there's a whole big conversation: omni-channel, multi-channel, digital channels, e-commerce, online marketing. It's just a whole universe of stuff that you really need to understand the space that you are playing in.
And it's still
to be successful.
And it's still evolving.
But everyone needs to be online. If you are not there, you're already there because somebody's going to take you there without you knowing.
If you're not there, you're going to be there.
You're going to be there. You don't have to take yourself there.
Somebody
will take you there.
So might as well you get there first.
Because you'll be there and you don't know you're there.
Folks, I thought it was going to be a short answer, but that answer alone box off my head.
But it's
if
true.
You're not there, somebody like I can repeat that like 3-4 times. If you're not there, you're going to be there because somebody's going to take you there.
Somebody's going to take you there. Through your pictures, through comments, good service, bad service, whatever it is, someone will take you there. And
so if you think you're going to survive by not being online, it's not going to work.
No, it's not going to work.
Bev, wow. Where can the people find you? Because I feel that we've only opened the cover to the knowledge, the value that you with the Hulaine Strategic Services team offer. Where can they find you? How they can connect with you?
Okay, so Hulaine.com, Hulaine, Hulaine.com. You can find me social media, IG, Facebook, Hulaine Strategic Services, and on LinkedIn you find me, Beverley Thompson, and Hulaine Strategic Services.
And I know that you run workshops.
I do.
We register for those workshops through social media.
Yes, it's always there. Always I'm running them, always on social media. But a lot of my work, what I find now is what's happening is that people want customized programs that will move the needle.
And it's going to multiply.
So that's where a lot of my work is concentrated, through consulting and business strategy, yes.
Folks, if you have that business, if you're ready for the next level, I know I'm going to book Bev for my own consultation session right after this. But if you want, you need to go and check her out. If you're just tuning in, I don't know, you missed an awesome show. But remember, you can watch a recap on YouTube shortly after the airing of this. If you are searching for Bridge, if you don't sound so great, remember we're on the entire 99 bandwidth. So that's 0.1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9. If you've missed what's happening, Bev is a gorgeous woman. I don't know if you guys haven't seen her yet, but if you want to see her and all the other guests and all the other fabulous people we have here on The Bridge, you can go to thebridge99fm.com. And if you're on the move, you need to download the mobile app in the Android Play Store or Apple App Store. Simply search The Bridge 99 FM, all one word. Folks, it has been an awesome episode. I know I have a lot of questions I need to go home and answer. If you are that business person, if you're that professional, if you're that entrepreneur, if you're that salesperson, I would like major recommendation. Go home, review some of this information, answer some of those key questions. They may be the game changers that you need to take your business to that next level. But until next time, it's Levels and Meds for next level thinking, next level living. Have a great day. And don't stop leveling up. We'll see you next week, folks. Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on the Bridge 99 FM.